Hey guys, it's Geoff, and here are my thoughts on the new Sean Matsukawa album, Left Hand, Right Hand. Just to give you a little background on Sean's music, I discovered him through an Apple Music playlist that included a lot of indie sort of songs, and his single Palm landed on the playlist, featuring friend and collaborator Kaya Crawford, and that ended up being one of my favorite songs of 2018. So before listening to the album itself, I hadn't really listened to much of Sean's catalog up until this point, so I was very intrigued as to what he will provide in this album. And as it turns out, there are a lot of solid and unique cuts that are definitely worth a listen. The intro song on the album, Clueless, is a pretty solid cut, actually. It involves this kind of synthesizer that's really cool, and it has a little duet between distorted vocals and distorted guitars. Overall, kind of an intense song, but also relaxing in a way. But overall, a really good way to kind of segue into the rest of the album. Then there's the song Drunk, which is kind of a distorted, super kind of grimy song. Not one of my personal favorites off the album, but at the same time, I think it's a pretty solid cut. One of the main highlights for me, actually, in the album were the interludes. SES Interlude is kind of a spacey, reminiscent song that has a phenomenal vocal performance from Sean. And then there's the Dunder Interlude, which is a very solid instrumentally kind of distorted, glitchy song that works fairly well as a banger. On top of that, the song 1848 is lyrically and vocally and instrumentally engaging. It's a little stripped down. It's kind of got the basics, to be honest, but at the same time, they suffice to still make another memorable cut on the record. Another one of my personal favorites is the song Sweet Tea. It is really cool, kind of the bass and the synth that he uses. Just kind of get right to the chase, and the vocals also back them up very well. There is a moment anytime on the album that was, if I had to pick one of my least favorite album. Overall, it was the lyrically least creative, I think. And on top of that, the instrumentals, while not terrible because it's Sean, are probably the most underwhelming. But overall, I have to say, from cover to cover, it flows pretty well. Sean uses a lot of similar sounds, which pay off in a way because the sounds are really good. And then on top of that, there aren't really any throwaways on this album. I wasn't really kind of going away from it thinking, oh, there were some of those songs that I just completely forget. But overall, this album has an identity. It is somewhat concise from cover to cover. And overall, I was impressed by the work that Sean pulled off on this one. Again, Sean probably doesn't have the biggest budget in terms of what he can do. He's a fairly unknown artist. However, given his knowledge and what he can do with his synths and with his guitars and with his vocals, I was impressed, to say the least. Perhaps the most exciting part about this album to me is that there's definitely room for improvement in Sean's music. We kind of get a taste of that. He actually produced one of the songs on Boogie's album, Everything's for Sale. Skydive, one of the more dreamier instrumentals on the album. But if Sean continues working and he sticks to his guns and he improves upon what is already good and fixes what needs a little polishing, but if he accomplishes all that, I think we're in for a treat if Sean continues his work and releases another studio album in the next year or so. But overall, I definitely recommend this album. I'm thinking an 83 out of 100 as the score for Left Hand, Right Hand. Thank you for watching this review, guys. Make sure to listen to this album because I certainly recommend it. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more album reviews, opinions on other music things. And thank you very much for watching.